Testing, testing. Is there a way to turn it on? Oh, yeah, we were going to test it. I don't know. Testing.
Yeah, this system is on here.
Oh,
So that's our P. We've got a PA system.
Got it.
So this is our streaming.
Yes, that's the streaming mic. Okay. Okay. All right. Now we. Okay. Good. All right. I'm not going to start anything. Just testing the mic.
many families were really struggling. And substance abuse is for myself, and foster care was the highest conviction to incarceration ratio of any county, and the highest number of children in foster care anywhere in Arkansas Valley by a margin. And all that tension was just a pressure cooker for everyone.
There were so many kids in foster care that just couldn't not see it.
Our job was to identify bad folks, arrest them before the time. We were very good, but what we never stopped to think about were the unintended consequences of that. And the families that were being permanently broken up. I really took to heart this notion of let's try to find alternative solutions.
There's a way called collective impact that if we could figure out how to partner together, then maybe we can start to change the outcomes. What Fort Smith did was it started coming up with very unique ways to partner together and share information. We were able to, through a partnership, we were able to bring some software, the Hope Hub software.
I'm Heather Schaefer, I'm the executive director at Community Rescue Mission here in Fort Smith. I love Hope Hub. We're a homeless shelter for families, and so we need to connect families in crisis with the resources in our community. Our jails and our court systems work hand in hand with us. It's about trying to meet the families where they're at.
It's a collaborative system, so you get the case manager, and you're able to really get the transportation and the job and the housing, any of those needs, those critical needs really that somebody might have.
Sebastian County has moved from 800 children in foster care, just about 800 mid-2017, to at the end of last month, they were under 400 children in foster care. It's the first time we've ever seen that level. There's been a reduction in time.
Our number of children in care has dropped drastically. A big part of that is what we see is the front end is intervening in the beginning, not when they're already in care.
We're able to provide services, listed services to help people with different needs more than we ever were. And I think that's the ultimate goal.
I had the will and just needed the tools and the resources, and that's exactly what this kind of thing does.
When you show that you're trying to help yourself, then people are willing to help you.
Having a model to follow is a good asset to our community.
These communities now have the ability to talk together and try things and figure out in real time, are they working?
Because we all want the same thing. We want all our people to have a better quality of life and a safer quality of life.
It's still morning. Good morning. Okay. It's good to see all of you here. I'd like to welcome you. There we go. We got it. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of you today as we celebrate 100 families. An amazing program. I was around when Restore Hope was brought to life by Paul Chapman and others in the River Valley. And now we've gone from not only restoring, but now the 100 Families program. It recognizes the fact that every family can play a role in our community. And what they do, they bring those families back together through hard work, dedication, and a vision for what good families ought to look like. Oftentimes in business, we talk about retention. retaining good company, good families, retaining good employees, and retaining companies in our region. But this is also a way we retain families together. So every family matters. So when they bring that family back together after being fractured for some reason, it makes a difference for all of us. So again, on behalf of all of us in the River Valley, and certainly the city of Fort Smith, Arkansas, we welcome you. Thank you.
Good afternoon or good morning. I'm Gary Udodge. I'm the Director of Career Education, District Innovation for the Fort Smith Public Schools. And I'd like to welcome you to the Peak Innovation Center. I'd also like to say the restrooms are just over here to the left behind the exit sign. Like the 100 Families Initiative, Peak is the result of real community collaboration that will change lives in our region. Peak opened in the fall of 2022, and our enrollment has grown from 240 students to over 400 in that time. We've partnered with the University of Arkansas at Fort Smith to offer concurrent technical credit training programs to high school students from around our region in advanced manufacturing, IT, and healthcare. This year, we added an emerging art and design program and a construction technology program. We've partnered with Matthew Hominick and the Great Fort Smith Adult Education Center to offer adult apprenticeship opportunities at night in plumbing and residential construction. We're looking to continue to grow those opportunities. We're proud of the work of the 100 Families Initiative is doing, and we're proud to be your partner. Thank you.
Good morning. This is quite an amazing group of people this morning. It's been very exciting to see all of you come in and talk and get to know each other. There are, just a little housekeeping, there are still a few seats. So if you're sitting in the back and you want to fill in, come on up. Don't be shy. We want everybody to get a spot. So thank you so much for coming this morning. Thank you to Dr. Udodge and Peak for having us here this morning. And thank you to Mayor McGill as well for welcoming us. There are several important people this morning that we wanted to recognize. Of course, sitting next to Mayor McGill is also the Vice Mayor, Jared Rigo, who's the Ward 1 Director. I have seen Judge Terry come in. Thank you for being here. Chief Workforce Officer Mike Rogers, Representative Richard McGrew, Representative Jay Richardson, Representative Cindy Crawford, Chris Bader was here with Congressman Womack's office. Of course, Police Chief Danny Baker, and he brought some of his team. So appreciate you coming. Sheriff Hobie Runyon, County Judge Steve Holtz, Senator Jim Petty, of course, DCFS Director Tiffany Wright. So thank you all so much for being here. Yes, that's what I was like. Yeah. There you are, sir. So we'll start this morning with an invocation by Reverend Bud Reeves.
All right, I'm Bud Reeves. I'm one of the pastors at First United Methodist Church here in town. I remember a meeting, I guess 5 or 6 years ago with Paul Chapman and others in a tiny little room downtown somewhere. That's all I remember about that. But they were talking about a vision of restoring hope to the community and this vision of coordinating services and so forth. And it is amazing to see in that span of time, how this has grown and what a tremendous impact it's making. Our missions coordinator at our church has signed up and has been trained in the Hope Hub, and I hope a lot of our churches in the community get involved with that, because the churches are a great resource for help, and we have a lot of situations that the 100 Families model can really make an impact with. So I'm very thrilled to be a part of this today. And when I get asked to pray and bless food and all that, and everybody's eating, I always quote Psalm 103, which says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me." So let's have a word of prayer. Holy One, we thank you for this place today, and this time to be together, and all these people gathered in the room. We thank you for 100 Families and the impact that they are making now, and the promise of tremendous impact for the future. We thank you for each of these persons who have a part in that ministry to this community. And we thank you for the families that we have the privilege of partnering with and helping to make their lives better. What a gift that is. And we pray that you'll bless this time together today, and bless the food that we share, all to your glory as we live together in this community. Amen.
What impacts one of our families directly impacts us all. Directly impacts us all. A family in crisis affects loved ones, neighbors, schools, businesses, social services, and too often our justice system. We have to come to realize that many of those families need more help than any one of us can provide. In recognition of this truth, we are compelled to act. We are compelled to act. We believe that hope is fuel for action. Hope is fuel for action. Fuel for action. We will restore hope. We will restore hope. We will not stand by while families in our community are in crisis. We believe that change is possible. It is possible. We will not be about planning and creating, but rather changing lives and restoring hope and building our community. Building our community. We will work through differences and break down silos. Break down silos. We will recognize the profound importance of life's basics: food, clothing, shelter, and healthcare. We will look below surface symptoms to discover root causes. We will meet the needs of the whole person and whole family. In our whole family. In the whole family. We will not ignore the impact of addiction, mental illness, trauma, and physical restraints. We will seek the change that comes from recovery, wellness, and healthy living. Build on the foundation of wellness by educating families about physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and intellectual wellness. We will work hard. We will work hard. We will work hard at the task from empowering individuals toward a stable long-term career. A stable long-term career. We will step in. We will step in. We will make change. We will make change. For ourselves. For our families. For our families. For our community. For our communities. And we will restore hope. We will restore hope. We will restore hope. Restore hope. We will restore hope.
Some of you may have seen that video before. It's one of my favorites. it's the reading of the Declaration of Participation. So for all of you who have been involved with 100 Families, that's what we agreed to, and that's what we've been doing for 5 years. So that's really exciting, and I, again, appreciate all of you being here. At this time, I would like to introduce my very good friend, Eddie Lee Herndon, to come up and say a few words with OG&E. Of course, we met many years ago when I was at the Literacy Council and he was at the United Way, but it's been a long journey, and we appreciate having him along.
Let me just take this beautiful group in for a second. Wow. What an amazing group. Thank you, Heather. Guys, before we get started, I just want to take a second to acknowledge OG&E, and I appreciate the opportunity they afford me to continue to work in these areas of personal choice to help our community. And, we energize life. I want to thank Carrie Terry, our community outreach coordinator, for being here as well. And we had some other members that couldn't come. I want to thank Restore Hope, Paul Chapman, the entire team. And I want to give a special shout out. I know she was behind me over here somewhere, to Karen. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done. I want to say thank you to Heather. You've seen Heather on the stage. I saw Dana somewhere. Dana, there she is from White County. I want to say a special thanks to LaShawna. Where's LaShawna? Superwoman. There she is right there. And I don't think is Miss Charlotte Douglas here today? Not here, but that was the original team that we assembled along with our United Way team when we began the journey. So I wanted just to give a special shout out, and I want to say a special thanks. You see Miss Sunshine there, Abby. Wave. There's Miss Sunshine. She's Miss Sunshine for our community. I hear a lot of songs in my head when I think of people, and I always think of "You Are My Sunshine." I'll spare you all from that, but she is our joy. And when Abby asked me if I'd be the keynote speaker and speak today, I said, "Well, can you give me an idea? Give me some things you'd like to share." And Abby said, "We want you to just be Eddie Lee." And I said, boy, that is dangerous ground, and so immediately my mind just kind of exploded. And those of you that know me, I started thinking about crabs and fleas and bears and eagles. And I started thinking of music like REO Speedwagon and Diana Ross Mayer. I could hear "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" just playing in my head about this Restore Hope. And can you hear it with me right now? I'm not going to sing that one, but I started thinking, ain't no mountain high enough. We're going to climb the mountain. So Abby, you've opened up a can of worms. I'm a gardener and I love worms. So, we're going to talk about a few things. I want to thank each of you for being here today. I want to ask you a question. So what do we call a gathering of quail? A covey. What do we call a gathering of seagulls? A flock. I heard somebody say that. Okay, we're going to get a little harder now. Come on, Jared, you're good at trivia. What do we call a gathering of penguins? A colony. And what do we call a gathering of owls? Come on, Judge. How about a parliament? I thought it was a hearing, but it's a parliament. And what do we call a gathering of eagles? A convocation. A convocation, a beautiful word, a noble word for such a beautiful, regal creature, our national bird, our national symbol. What is a convocation? A convocation, it's a large formal meeting. It's a celebration. It's a special announcement. It's a call to action. And as I look across our audience today, I don't see penguins. I don't see quail. I don't see seagulls. I see eagles. I see leaders in our community, leaders in so many ways. Every one of you, each and every one of you, no matter from as your own individual self to the agencies or organizations, companies you serve, we are all noble leaders. And did you know during times of necessity, the lone solemn eagle will come together and they gather as a group when there's a challenge, and it's called a convocation. Many times they just fly alone, but when they're challenged, and have that call in a crucial time, they come together. And just as eagles, I want to tell you, you have come together for our families and our children. In 2015, Governor Hutchinson held a summit that Paul Chapman attended, and the governor said, "This is a call to action. I want to assure you I have no desire to convene this Restore Hope Summit to leave here with only hope. We need to follow that with action, commitment, measuring sticks, determine how we have done and how many more will join the effort and what progress we are making." That was his call to action. Paul Chapman's vision intersected with Governor Hutchinson's desire to help parents reunite with their children. Paul knew that collective impact, a convocation was the way forward. The Restore Hope journey began the desire to help those in need to have a second chance, wanting to get back on track and find the right path. Paul wanted to provide a network of expert support, a network of unwavering love, a network of fierce perseverance, and a highway complete with essential maintenance stops and tune-ups along the way to the destination of success. He also knew that technology was needed to aid, guide, and measure the progress and resources to accomplish the goals. And most importantly, a community like ours was needed to rally together and engage in each area of expertise and lead the way. Our convocation included our agencies and social services, our faith-based communities, our law enforcement, our judges, our legal system, our healthcare, our education centers, our government officials, and many, many more. Paul's vision intersected with Governor Hutchinson, and we worked to reduce the number of children in state custody. Together, Restore Hope was created, and the 100 Families program was born. Now, Abby, here's where we cue the music. REO Speedwagon. I'm not going to sing Heard It From a Friend, but can you hear that? Gary, can you pick a drum beat for us? So I heard it from a friend. So Paul visited with the pastor, and the pastor took Paul to Sam T. Seacard. Sam, are you in the room today? Not sure Sam's here. And from there, Sam said, "Go see our sunshine. Go see Abby Cox." And Paul went to see Abby Cox, and then Abby Cox came to see me. And somewhere along the way, Abby and Paul came to see probably everybody in this room. And United Way joined in the action. United Way began working with the 100 family programs, uniting agencies, and becoming the fiduciary for funds. I want to give a special shout out to our team, Miss Angie Ruth, who probably pushed the pencil more than anybody. And Karen, you know, and Heather, you know, on this. Angie's not here today, but I want to thank Angie, Mitzi, Shay, Carrie. That was our original team. So thank you guys for what you did for United Way with the program. For our parents and clients, the process is a challenge, but a fight worth everything. And it's not easy. You know, I remember taking our kids to the beach, and we'd get a bucket, and we'd go out, and we'd have the flashlight. Has anybody done that? You know, and in crab season, you get the crabs, and you're putting them in the bucket. You know, and just about the time one of the crabs tries to get out of the bucket, what does another crab do? Pulls them back in. You don't even have to put a lid on the bucket. You know, and that reminds me of a Helen Keller quote to me that is just outstanding. Helen Keller said, "Character cannot be developed through ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved." Reminds me of another story. There was this young man who was an up-and-coming wrestler. And at the time, there was a great wrestler known as the Great Zambini. And the Great Zambini had never been defeated by anyone. And he had a great opponent. But that opponent could not make it because he had an injury. So they reached out to the young man and they said, "Listen, it's short notice, but you're on the undercard. But this is your chance for fame. You're probably going to get beat, maybe even hurt. But this is a great payday and a great opportunity." So he went on with the Great Zambini. And he got in the ring. And if you can imagine, the old time announcers, they were like, and here's the young man, and he's in the ring with the great Zambini, and he's going to take on the great Zambini. And so it went ding, ding. And so the great Zambini, and he's sizing up the young man, and they're working around. And nobody had ever defeated the great Zambini in the pretzel hold. He had this amazing hold. And once he got you in the pretzel hold, you could not survive. You would pass out. And the great Zambini, and he's approaching the young man, and oh no, he's got him in his grasp, and he's reaching him, and he's tying him in a knot. And he had the young man, and the young man just tied in a knot, and he couldn't breathe. And it was almost over. And the young man, we can see he's about to pass out, and they're about to count him out. And then all of a sudden, the young man just had this burst of energy, and he just threw the great Zambini in the air, and he crawled over, and he jumped on top of him, and they counted 1, 2, 3, and the young man defeated the great Zambini. And the announcer's like, we can't believe this is the upset of the century, and the young man has defeated the great Zambini. And after it was over, they interviewed the young man, and they said, how in the world did you overcome this challenge? How did you get out of the pretzel hold? He said, well, let me just tell you, I tried to dodge him as long as I could. And when he finally caught me and he had me all tied up, he said, I was about to pass out, and I looked up, and there was this big toe just hanging in my face. And he said, and I just bit it as hard as I could. And he said, and you will be amazed what you can do when you bite your own big toe. Guys, 100 families helps those in need that are wanting a second chance, that are fighting with everything they can do. I'm reminded of Luke chapter 15. I'm not going to read it today. But what is Luke chapter 15 for my Bible folks in the room? It's the parable of the lost sheep. If there's one out of 99, what do? We go find it. And that's what Restore Hope 100 Families has done. We've gone out and sought out the one. So 5 years ago seems like a blitz for all of us in the room. It has just vaporized. But for our families waiting on their children, it's been an eternity. Great progress has been made. Did you know in 2017, there were 800 children in state custody? 1 in 34 children in state custody. Sebastian County, the highest rate in the region, top 10 in the nation, if not one of the highest. And this area, because of many reasons, and because of this convocation, because of the crisis, because of the need, came together. And I will tell you, as of yesterday, there were 396 children in state custody. To me, that's a round of applause. That is 400 reunifications, 400 children back with their biological parents. Guys, recidivism rates of clients have been greatly reduced. We have an improved workforce. You know, Mike Rogers is here today. Mike works every day for the state and the governor, helping find pathways for people to have jobs. And, 100 families, we have a client base that's hungry to work. We have folks that have a desire to get their children back and improve their life and have life-sustaining wages. Now I want to talk about fleas as I wind down, so don't start itching. But, I heard a great speaker one time. He talked about catching fleas, and he put them all in a jar. And he screwed this lid on the jar, and he just sat there. And you know what the fleas did? They jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and hitting the lid. And eventually, the brave soul took the lid off. And guess what the fleas did? They stayed in the jar. They had learned over time that there was a ceiling, or they thought. John Maxwell talks about the leadership lid and taking the leadership lid off. And that's what you, as a collective group, have done for so many people in our community that are in need, as you've taken the lid off. And you've allowed people to have opportunities. And we meet them where they are. Where they are might be hungry. Where they are might be unsheltered. Where they are might be underemployed. It might be unemployed. It might be so many crises. But when we lift the lid off as a community, we absolutely change lives. And I want to go back to Governor Hutchinson as I close. He said, this isn't a time only for celebration, which today, this is what we're here to do. But it's also in the convocation, a call to action. So today, as we celebrate the 5-year benchmark, we have much, much, much more ground to cover. We have many, many, many more families and children to help and meet them where they are. And I'll just leave you with something that's probably very familiar with most of you in the room. But there was a story, and it's very famous. And an old man came out of his house one day, and he was at the beach, and he looked down the beach, and he could see all of these starfish that had washed up, thousands. And he's just looking at, and then way down the beach, and he's got glasses like me, you know, and he's trying to see, and he sees a little boy, and the little boy's doing something. And so he goes down the beach exploring, walking past all of the starfish, walking past them. And he gets the little boy, and the little boy, one at a time, is picking them up and throwing them back into the water. And he says, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, throwing the starfish back." And the old man said, "Well," he said, "son," he said, "don't you know that's hopeless? Don't you know there's thousands of starfish out here?" And the little boy picked one up, threw it back in the water, and he said, "Matter to that one. Thank you for all you do."
Paul's going to fix the clicker. Thank you. And while he does that, I wanted you to stand up if you were in the room where it happened 5 years ago at the Blue Lion or at the boardroom where we originally signed the declaration. There's a group picture up here behind me. But if you were there, please stand. In the room where it happened. Yes. It's neat how we actually all fit in a group picture for everybody that was there. I don't think that we could do that today. Now the Alliance is 158 Alliance members strong. To be an Alliance member, you need to sign the online declaration of participation or be using Hope Hub as a point of contact provider or a connection provider, or soon a new category called stakeholder. That's a type of provider in the system that will view dashboards and can communicate in forums. Yeah, that's a new thing too, forums. But does not work on client level care teams. So think of threads or Reddits around community issues, but with trusted associates and collaborative teammates. There's a care team slide next. The data, oh yeah, there's the 158. Yes, go ahead, one more. The data just over the past 3 years tells us that on average, is it working? Yay. Yep. That on average, there were 7 care team members per family over the last 3 years. But as of just the last 12 months, that has increased to 12. So on average, there are 12 members in our community, different providers, wrapping around services for families. And that is amazing, because why does that matter? You know, the science of collective impact, and this is the collective impact guru right here, Paul Chapman. In fact, whenever 100 families was just thought of, or even before it was thought of, I remember praying for unity in the community to help struggling parents. That's what God had laid on my heart. And then when I met Paul, he's like, there's science to that. And I was like, oh, I'd never heard of this strange thing called collective impact, but it's so true. The concept of both biblical unity and the concept of collective impact are the same, that when we work together on problems together, that we are going to have better outcomes, that we are better together, as Eddie
I have color commentary to
Oh,
provide.
color commentary, okay.
So Tiffany Wright and Carrie Williams are here. And so this whole science thing really kind of came about with, you know, we're making grants and very smart people are doing very hard work, but nothing really changes. The population doesn't change. And so this collective impact thing that first appeared in the Stanford Social Innovation Review in 2011 had been showing that some communities were actually able to have population level change. So we thought we want to see if we can't build the first one of those thingies here in Arkansas. And so we there's science, but then there's also the art, and that's the people here in this room. It's like we had to find the right community because we didn't have a model that you would just implement. It had to be built. And so that takes relationships and time. And so Carrie was head of reentry for probation parole, and Tiffany, and we didn't have one red cent. All we had was aspirational vision. We load up in a ACC prison van, which was about probably appropriate for me to be sitting in the back of that thing. And we drove to Fort Smith, Arkansas because of the need that was here. And we started meetings. And so thank you, both of you, early on, and for everyone that stood up, for the 2019 part of that. It went from aspirational vision to something that now is providing tools to the community to be able to help many, many people.
So every dot on this graph, I just want you to look at it really quickly, because every dot on the graph behind me represents a different organization that serves on care teams for families. So no matter how small the dot is, it means that that organization that is represented there is serving on a care team for a family. The larger the dot, the more care teams, the more families that particular organization is serving on. So you can see those larger dots represent organizations that serve on so many different care teams for families and provide wraparound support. So like Salvation Army, who has just always been so amazing about jumping on a care team and helping whenever there's a utility bill that needs paid or something like that. I mean, that is just, it's such a needed help, but without it, people's electricity would be off. And so just thank you to them, and Arkansas Family Alliance for the work that you do, Matt. Just so thankful. I wanted to, or I'm excited to be the one that actually gets to go through some of the awards for the different organizations that have been part of 100 Families over the past 5 years. We're going to start with the contact committee, the committee chairs, basically. And some of y'all may remember Teresa Hill. She was one of our original, I actually spoke with her just yesterday, and she sends her regrets for not being able to be here. She moved away soon after we got started, but she had some of the very first clients. And so you may have heard me, if you've heard me long enough, talk about how it's not just the people that come up with the good ideas, but it's also the people that follow, like the first followers. Those are big deals, because if we don't have people that, take on the mission and vision as their own, then we get nowhere. And so Teresa was one of those. Another one of those kind of first people were Heather Sanders. Heather Sanders, if you'll come get your award. I love Heather. She knows that she did. I remember the day that she came up to me after a 100 Families Alliance meeting and said, "You know what? I think we will enroll families into 100 Families." Huge win. Thank you for doing that, for stepping out on faith. We had nothing to offer her but a hug, and she took it. Thank you, Heather.
And more work.
And more work, yeah. Did you know it's work to collaborate, you guys? It is. It's work.
If you don't know it's work to collaborate, then you're probably the problem in the collaboration.
Our connection committee, our very first chair for the connection committee was Representative Cindy Crawford. So Representative Crawford, she's still here? Yes, there she is. She has just been a supporter from day one. Anytime we ask her to do anything, she has been so helpful to us. But man, she was a committee chair, leading a committee in the beginning before she got so busy in Little Rock. But thank you, Representative. Okay, so the other connection committee chairs, Deacon Greg Pear, who couldn't be here today. He's been a tremendous support with St. Anne's and making sure our families have the needs that they have met. Heather actually was one of our, there, take your word, was one of our first committee chairs because while she worked at the Literacy Council. So I remember that call that she made to me and said, hey, what is this? I want to be part of it. I mean, that's how she became part of this, is just, seeing and hearing about it and knowing that she wanted to be. Marie Robinson is a partner with us. She actually shares offices. Come on down. Marie Robinson works for 0 to 3, the Safe Babies court teams, and she partners on our alliance meetings. She comes to community meetings, trainings, shares office space, which means that I'm sure she has a lot of stories to tell about Heather. I don't know. Thank you. Our career committee was very important. And, Paul's the one that came up with Contact Connection Career. I was old school nonprofit, so I thought we needed to have committees on housing and a committee on education and a committee on employment, because that's the siloed world that I lived in. But he's like, no, we need a Contact Connection Career Committee that is every single one of those are across sectors. And so everything we've built in has that science and art of collective impact, including the committees. Did you have anything? Commentary?
I just think the important, so much of the time that as we provide services and try to help folks, we take these slices that's a kind of a silo. If we're trying to help someone get unencumbered from court, and they settle their issues, and then that's done, we would consider that to be success. But making grants and doing direct service for so many years, what we would see, especially when we started a housing operation, a transition houses, just because they successfully completed didn't mean that they were out of the woods. They were still struggling with, making payments and getting their kids back. And so we just thought, I think early on, so much of this was just figuring it out here in Fort Smith. But one of the illustrations that we used was there wasn't enough fuel in the rocket. It's like you could get the rocket onto the pad and the rocket, you achieve liftoff, but gravity would pull it down in some way. It would be, you get your job back, you get a house, your parole officer's all good, but you've got that $1,100 thing from 3 years ago in the district court and a warrant out for your arrest for a misdemeanor issue. But when you slow roll through the stop sign, when you get pulled over, and you will at some point, then you're going to jail, you're going to lose your job. And so it was things like that, because we don't have a system. We have a system of overlapping systems, and the complexity of that we just said, we need to help someone move all the way to career and get unencumbered and unentangled from the issues that got them in the hole in the first place. And that probably would be the state that someone would be in that would minimize the likelihood of returning to crisis.
Yeah, and so the career committee, I remember that very first career committee. It was led by Dr. Kim Gordon of University of Arkansas Fort Smith, but it was a small committee, so I could actually name the members. Mark Allen, you were there. Miles Crawford, you were there. So that committee was so important because they came up with innovative ideas and started working the Future Fit program, for example, which we actually have successful participants that ended up finishing that and still have amazing good jobs. So, I mean, there are successes behind all of those things that y'all thought of. I'm looking at 5 years later and thinking, oh my goodness, we've had successes from that. Charlotte Douglas was also a career committee chair. She did so much work for 100 families. Even before 100 families existed, she was fighting the high numbers in foster care. But our current chair is Dawn Turner. She was with the Chamber of Commerce, and come on up. Thank you, Dawn. Dawn understands and has always understood the value of supporting employers and employees to build a resilient workforce and strong communities. We really appreciate you, Dawn. Okay, and then we're going to give some awards out to providers who have worked with families. And up first is Courtney Harlan. I was noticing, Courtney, you were in the room where it happened 5 years ago, and then also when Misha came to visit, Courtney was working at DCFS at that time, and she has helped hundreds of families by herself. I mean, good job, Courtney. I mean, nope, not by herself, but you know, the primary provider. So yes, thank you, Courtney. Sheralita Markinney, for being a newer case manager, like not 5 years. She has done a tremendous job. The top 3 areas that her families have excelled in have been safety, recovery, and housing. Yeah. Erica Valle. Her top 3 areas for the families she served have been financial, housing, and employment. And both Shell and Erica have just, you know, they both work in offices out in the community. That's part of our model. And Erica works, her office is in the Literacy Council, while Shell works at the Community Corrections Building, Parole Probation Office, where I got my start. So thank you so much, Erica. All right, next up is my dear, dear friend and first follower, Trudy Smith. Trudy and I have spent hours in court together, praying together, crying together, all the things, because families are worth fighting for, and her and I take that very, very serious. And we're just so thankful for Trudy. We love you, Trudy. Yes, and my other dear friend, Patricia McMullen. You guys, Patricia is a peer recovery in training. I don't know all the acronyms, I'm sorry. But Patricia and I go way back. She has worked at a lot of organizations, STEPS and Community Rescue Mission. And anyway, we were just very, very grateful for you. Love you. Okay, so the orgs that have ever enrolled a family into Hope Hub, we're going to go through this really, really quickly, okay? Community Rescue Mission. Lots and lots of, everybody's going to come up? Okay, yeah, and just stay up here, I guess. Community Rescue Mission. Is that what you're saying? All of the Community Rescue Mission. Got it.
Group pick.
Okay, group pick. They provide holistic care through collaboration, and all of the members there work collaboratively with the 100 Families Initiative. Thank you, Community Rescue Mission. The Children's Shelter, or Get Real 24, Get Real University. Thank you. We are thankful for your partnership. Thank you so much. First Choice Pregnancy Center. They are the first point of contact for many parents to be at. It's such an important time. Are they here? No? Okay. Sorry. Fort Smith Adult Education Center. We appreciate our adult ed partners for education and employment. They provided office space for us at times. They provided meeting rooms when needed. Thank you for your support. Goodwill, the Board of Partners for Employment and Reentry Services. Are they here? I don't see them. Okay. The Guidance Center. I know we got some people from Guidance Center here. Come on. Whoever's here from the Guidance Center, come on up. I know there's several of you. Come on. Come on. Yes, thank you. The Guidance Center has been a great partner. They actually have 2 case managers that Randall's one of those that work for the Guidance Center, but provide 100 Families case management. But then, of course, just such great partners. And there's my friend Nicole. Thank you to the Guidance Center for their help with mental health and recovery and all that. Oh, I've been behind on my thingies. I'm not good at cooking. Okay, Hamilton Center, Child Advocacy Center. You here? Yay. Good job. At the very beginning, they had a resource center actually in Crawford County where they were serving families enrolled in 100 Families. Like they were enrolling them like crazy. But Jenny is also one of our past 100 Families case managers that worked at STEPS, and now she works over at the Hamilton Center. Thank you so much for your partnership. We appreciate you all and all you do for children and families. Harbor House. Harbor House has enrolled families into the initiative, and they also have a 100 Families case manager at Harbor House, that they're a vital recovery partner as well. Yep, thank you. Heart to Heart Pregnancy Center. You should do this. Heart to Heart, are you here? Okay, sorry. We appreciate you guys so much. Heart to Heart. Literacy Council of Western Arkansas. Okay. Mercy. There we go. Mercy. Yeah. Mercy has partnered in so many ways, you guys. Between University of Arkansas Fort Smith and Mercy, that's where we had all of our beginning meetings. And so we were just very, very thankful for Mercy opening up their doors. Yeah, go Mercy. Is Chris here, Riverview Hope Campus?
Chris
Yeah, there you are,
Yep.
Chris. Come on up. We are so thankful for Riverview Hope Campus and all they provide. Many parents and caregivers that are in 100 Families need a temporary place to stay. They don't have their children back yet, and they've played an important role in providing stable housing and allowing them to reunite with their children. Restore Hope? Okay, I don't know. It's on the list. We enrolled families. Okay, there we go. STEPS Family Resource Center. They were definitely one of our very first partners. We've talked about y'all for a while here because of that. Very first partners and supporters, and a natural fit with their parenting classes and supervised visitation, those kinds of things. Thank you to STEPS. 0 to 3 Safe Babies. Marie. Of course, strong voice for young children in the court programs, and had some very great success rate with reunifications. And so it's a very natural partner for us, and we're just thankful that Marie had that mindset. You have to have a mindset for collaboration to collaborate. Thank you, Marie. And last but not least, United Way of Fort Smith area. Okay. We are going to now do something fun where we have people based off of their care areas stand up. So that's for you.
So if you're involved in the homeless continuum of care, or you provide housing assistance or beds in any way, would you please stand up? Oh, stay standing, please. If you provide recovery services, inpatient, outpatient, group services of any kind for substance abuse, please stand. Employment. If you're involved in helping people get employment, please stand. Education. If you're involved in teaching people, adult ed, vocational education, please stand. Mental health. If you provide behavioral health services, would you please stand? If you provide any type of physical health, medical health, or dental, and you're here, would you please stand? Money management. If you help people with money management or financial assistance, would you please stand? Food. Thank you. If you provide childcare assistance or services, would you please stand? Legal assistance. If you help people who need legal assistance, please stand. Thank you. And then lastly, if you're involved in the child welfare system, would you please stand? And so I think what this is a great picture of is the clients that walk in the door, any of our doors, that would need services from the people standing here, might have such a complex set of circumstances going on that not one of us could be able to help them. When they walked into the Workforce Services office and they want a job because they're living in misery and they're tired of it, and they ask for help, but they can't pass a drug test and they don't have a transportation to get there, and they've got legal issues. You want to be able to help them, but they're not ready yet. But there are other providers in the community. So instead of being depressed that I can't help you now, instead it will be, I can't wait to help you once the rest of the community is finished helping you on the journey to where I could be able to send you to school and then help you get that job. So thank you for what you do. I'm a provide, you can sit now. Thank you very much. I do want to say, because I attempted to say it earlier, but probably not well, but there are a set of kind of sciences, if you can get science in this area. It's a set of tools and technology and things that they work by themselves. But it takes people in a community to actually work them. So they're just tools. And this community is very, very special. It has been able to do some things. In fact, it's up on the board now. Very few communities are able to have population level change. And I'm not saying that you don't help somebody, that your efforts are in vain if you can't have population level change. You can help people for sure. And I don't want to discourage that or belittle that in any way. That's not the purpose. But for a community to be able to have population level change, it takes a collaboration that is unusual to be able to get. And this community is one that other communities in Arkansas and a growing number of communities outside of Arkansas are starting to inquire about. And well, I'll save that story for next. Let's run through what's happened. So in 2017, the community, Fort Smith and Sebastian County, about 1 in 34 kids were in foster care. And that was such an outlier in the state of Arkansas, almost 800 children in foster care. And as Eddie Lee said, that as of last month, we were under 400. That's a 50% reduction in just a few years. And that's testament to, someone asked me, they said, you know, what kind of happened? And I was like, well, Sarah Sheeram got put in charge. And she started digging in, and the community rallied behind her and around her. And so it's really remarkable what y'all have done, Sarah. Thank you very much for what you and your team have done. We've had a 20% reduction in crime in Fort Smith. So this really answers, you know, if you're a nerd in this world and you're studying things, you know, you always wonder, because the pendulum always swings. I'm going really off script. This could be a really bad moment for me. Because apparently we're recording this too. But the pendulum always swings, right? You struggle with number of beds in jails and prisons and number of arrests and the cost of all of that. And so it'll go one way is we'll say we need to change these things. But if the entire community is not behind it, then what happens is someone gets hurt and something awful happens. And we'll start to swing back the other way, and back and forth it goes. And everyone involved that I talked to, everyone involved, regardless of the seat, wishes it weren't that way. But that's the way it is. And so to be able to have a reduction in crime and a reduction in incarceration is truly remarkable in this community. So Sheriff, thanks. Chief, thanks for the teams that you lead and the way that you care about this community. I've had the privilege of serving on different committees with you that maybe some or most don't even know about, but I know your heart and I know what you are leading the community to. And so we put people we're scared of, we put them away where they belong. But those that just need some assistance, or if we can get there before the crime occurs, it's even better. And so thanks for you and your teams and what they mean to this community. What's next, boss?
So all of this and all of these care team members, what does that mean? The 400 reduction in children, you know, for children in foster care, families together, families preserved, families that the children never even had to be removed because we were able to step in as a community and help those families before that ever happened. That's what it's about. So 1,390 families served by the 100 Families Alliance, all of you over the last 5 years, 3,475 children. It's just amazing. I'm just like, yeah. When you have a name like 100 families, people always say, like, is that how many people you've helped? And we're like, no, in one community, it's 1,390. And now it's, expanded based off of the story of Sebastian County and how you have made population level change. We have coordinators from across the state here. We've got Garland County here. We've got Miller County way down in Texarkana. We got Johnson County here, Pulaski County. Everybody's learning from y'all about how to collaborate.
So down in Texarkana, Dr. Jenny Walker actually wrote her doctoral thesis on what Fort Smith did and actually brought 100 families down to Texarkana, and now it's spreading into kind of contiguous counties down in Texas. So.
All right, you might, these are just some of the stats with percentages of population of collective impact of percentage increases in those that have been served. For example, there's a 106% increase in families having safe, affordable housing here in Sebastian County. There was a 41% increase in families having full-time employment. And this is just last 3-year data, by the way. 40% increase in those having adequate childcare. So we've been, thank you to our childcare providers and those that have worked hard for that. That's huge. That's a huge improvement. Thank you so much. Anybody remember how I used to show these charts? Well, now these are in our dashboards. The crisis on the left, you might see the bright red goes down on the right, and the stable and thriving families on the left go down on the right. So it's from intake to most recent assessment. And that's just how we measure outcomes. We measure outcomes and not just outputs in the 100 Families initiatives. But families are more than numbers, right? They each have stories. And we are about to celebrate some of those stories, and not just the hundreds of graduates. There's been hundreds of graduates from this program, but there have been 203 parents who have moved all the way from crisis to career in this community, which means their family was in complete chaos. I know some of these families. I recently went back and looked through their notes about how they were over at the Sebastian County Jail and how, but now for the last several years, they are working full-time jobs. They are caring for their families, and they are productive members of society, and just thriving in their lives, and have full-time employment and a way to provide for their families' needs. So we get to now hear from Phyllis, who is, so precious to all of us, this community. We love Phyllis. She needs no introduction. I can see that. Thank you, Phyllis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will say on my notes it does say good morning, so I will be having to adjust a couple of things when I speak to you all. When they asked me to speak, I was extremely nervous because I'm not used to having to talk in front of so many amazing people, but I talk all the time, so I figured it should be all good. I would like to just take a moment to thank each and every one of you who had taken time out of your day to come out. It's partners such as yourself who have truly helped to make our mission possible. I'd also like to give a big shout out to the Future School of Fort Smith who helped bring volunteers out today. Thank you guys so much. As you may notice on your tables, we do have hearts that are just placed about the table, and there is a pen, and you could write your name on those and stick them in the frames that are over here in this table. That way we can just place that in our main office, and we can just take a look and see who all was here today and who's all helped to make such a big impact in our community over the past several years. So I was actually one of the children that was taken into care in 2017, the statistics that Paul was talking about. And my biological mother and her husband struggled with drug and alcohol abuse my entire childhood. And as a result of their addiction, I faced a lot of emotional and physical abuse. And so I had to be taken into care, and I'm so thankful to the department that they had stepped in and given me the opportunity that they did to grow at that time. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional, you guys. So I struggled with a trauma and just a general sense of not feeling like I really belonged anywhere, because my mindset was very much, if my own family didn't want me, then who would? I was kicked out of several homes because I had a lot of behavioral issues. And by the time I was 14, so in less than a year of being in care, I was considered one of the hardest to place children in the state of Arkansas. And luckily, Abby Rundell, who I believe is here today, an amazing woman, took me into her group home, Fostering Change, and helped me meet my parents, Mark and Heather. And although I was never officially adopted by my parents, I still refer to them every single day as mom and dad. But unfortunately, at that time in my life, I was not at a place that I didn't struggle with self-sabotaging behavior, and I had to move out of their home at 16. They still love me very much, and I still see them every day. I still go to church with them every day. But at that time, I did have to leave their home. And I ended up moving in with one of my teachers at the time, who unfortunately, she was not in a place in her life where she could adequately foster a child with such behavioral issues. We often would get into disputes about why I was the way I was, or why I talked the way I did, or why I just acted how I acted. And one time she told me, shortly before she kicked me out after I fell pregnant at the age of 17, that if she didn't get a check for me, she would have happily put me out on the street. And this wasn't the first time that I had heard things like that. One of my teachers in high school told me that I was never going to amount to anything, and I would always be unsuccessful because of how and who I was. But luckily for me, I graduated at the top of my class, and now I'm And now I'm currently studying forensic psychology at SNHU as undergrad before law school. At the time that I was removed from my foster mother's home, and it was truly by the grace of God that I was placed with Marie Robinson, who you have all seen today, and she is one of the greatest and strongest individuals that I know, and without her, I truly would not be where I am. And she was partnered with 100 Families through her position of community coordinator for 0 to 3, which, in case y'all didn't know, is an amazing initiative that helps families with wraparound services that have DCFS and court involvement who have children ages 0 to 3. And I remember I was 17, pregnant, about to turn 18. I didn't have a job and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I knew that I was having a daughter, which scared me more than anything. And I struggled with a constant fear of what if? What if I turn out like my mom? What if my daughter resents me for having her before I was ready to? And what if I can't provide a good life for her? And one day Marie told me about 100 Families, and they were hiring an administrative assistant. And I will be completely honest with y'all, I had no idea what an admin did. I had no idea what 100 Families did, but I figured, why not just go ahead and apply? And so I did. And about a week after I had turned 18, I got a text from Heather asking for an interview. And I walked into the main office downtown and I was shaking so hard. I picked out my best outfit and I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this job. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've only worked retail. There's no way I'm going to get a job here. But in case y'all didn't know, I am incredibly charming and charismatic. So really, I think that's what did it for me. I think that's won me the job. And it wasn't long after I had started my position as administrative assistant that I realized the beauty of the initiative. I watched every single day as families were impacted by the 2-gen approach. And what drives me every single day to do the work that I do is seeing parents want to get better for their children, because I know that my mom never did that for me. Sorry. And all of y'all who knew me when I struggled with a lot of my issues knew that I almost never cried. I didn't believe it was a thing I had the capability of doing, so this is very hard for me to stand in front of you all and get emotional about things. But every single day, as I saw the impact and I saw what 100 Families did, I decided to one day just walk into Courtney Harlan's office, who is one of our beautiful, amazing case managers. And I closed her door and I asked if I can do an intake for myself. I had never considered accepting that kind of help before because I thought that I was above it. I thought that admitting you needed help made you a failure. But to this day, I know that that is one of my greatest accomplishments, learning to accept help. If there's anything you take away from what I've said today, please let it be this. Just because you are a helper or in a position to make a difference does not mean you're above being helped. A part of the human condition, it seems, is to be prideful, to be afraid to fall and to fail. But when we take a chance to truly reflect on where we are in life and all the places that we hope to be, I think it's vital to understand the strength that comes with vulnerability. I believe it was Martha Beck who once said, "Vulnerability is the secret to resilience, and our families are nothing if not resilient." I often wonder how differently things might have been for me if my mom was vulnerable, or if she learned to accept that kind of help. And I wonder how much better I might have turned out, but I think I'm doing pretty okay. I'm so blessed to work for an initiative that has helped to turn my what ifs into why nots. Why not be better than what I had? Why not be a lawyer? Why not fight for others to know that they are way more than where they come from? I have lived many places, but Fort Smith and Sebastian County as a whole will always hold a special place in my heart. It's here that I had met my family and that I've had the unbelievably gracious opportunity to work alongside so many great men and women who have the drive, compassion, and focus to service those within their communities. Before I turn the mic over, I ask that you take each day as a chance to turn your what ifs into why nots. Thank you so much.
I did a pretty good job with that hire, didn't I? No offense to everybody. It's been a lot of fun celebrating all of our partners, but this is the best part. We get to celebrate the families. As you heard, we have a lot of graduates. We have a lot of families that we've worked with that have made so much progress. And that is exactly why we keep doing what we are doing and why 5 years is not the end, but the beginning. So get ready, buckle up. As many of you know, I've been the Sebastian County Coordinator for almost 4 years now, and it has been an honor to do the work with all of you. I've been transitioning, and this is my last official job as a county coordinator because I'm transitioning into a regional coordinator position, and I'm going to be supporting all my friends over here, the county coordinators on the western side of the state. So it is an absolute honor to be able to recognize just a handful of our graduates this morning. And if you are a case manager for one of these graduates, would you come forward? I know, yeah, I know. Where's Erica? Erica's on that one too. Could you hand me one of the certificates real quick? Could you hand me one real quick? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I meant to. So the certificates that they're getting indicates that they're presented for their hard work and perseverance. And that is truly the case for the families that we work with. They are the reason that we all are here today. So, and I'm not sure where everybody's sitting, but we've got Cindy Aldaco. Is Cindy here? Not here? Okay. Tristan Alder. Betty Ariatza. I know we had some that couldn't make it last minute, but I know Nicole's here. Nicole Brazil. Nicole was one of our very first enrolled in 100 families, and now she's working with the Guidance Center and the Fort Smith Police Department. So she's giving back, and we really appreciate her. All right. We've got Martisha Jones. Okay. Sharina Guys. Okay. All right, but I know Patrick and Amanda are here. Patrick and Amanda Meyer. And Phyllis was so busy preparing the certificates for everyone else that she did not make one for herself. So we will make Phyllis a certificate. Patrick and Amanda are also working to give back to the community, and we appreciate them and all that they're doing. Like I said, we've got a busy group of families, so it's hard for everybody to get away in the middle of the day, but we appreciate all of you and we appreciate all of them as well. We've worked with more than 100 families at this point. All right. And now I'm going to hand it over, the official handing of the baton, to my dear friend, Abby Cox.
I'm kind of torn, because it's such big shoes to fill, but she's made this foundation and it's such an easy sell now. Look at all of you. I'm truly honored to be able to be involved with 100 families and to be able to to be the comeback kid. I went away and helped with scholarships for a little while, and I failed miserably at retirement. Was short, but it's been the biggest honor of my entire life to come back on board. And it took a village today to put this on, but I have to tell you, I've always known that it comes from the top. And I remember 6 years ago when I was involved with the foster care system, and I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with the enormity of the situation, and it was about 5 o'clock, and I was at Steps Family Resource Center, and Sam Seacard was kind enough to come do a promotion for us and to talk to us. And at the end of the day, he goes, have you talked to Paul Chapman? And so it's 5 o'clock, and I'm like, no, but he's got a plan. And by golly, he came to Fort Smith with a plan. And Eddie Lee said, well, collective impact, and I'm not sure exactly what that is. And I said, yeah, well, me either, but I hear Tupelo, Mississippi tried it and it worked. And Paul's got a plan. And so here we are, Tupelo, Mississippi, better. But thank you so much for everybody that helped us put this on today. I went to Sam first thing. I said, I know I just got this job, and but we're having this really big 5-year anniversary, and I'm not fundraising or anything, but would you help me? And he said, of course. So thank you, Sam. And OG&E, Carrie, Terry, and of course, Eddie Lee, they always step up for you. And Valley has helped us so much insofar as being able to send families over and be able to talk to somebody and get some counseling and stabilize. My heart goes out to you. And Forsgren, we're working hard to get people that want to be in the trades. We're going to get you educated and out there and making $100,000 a year. That's my next lily pad jump. I'm just telling you now. And of course, Harbor House. I go pretty far back with Harbor House and Gateway, and I'm forever grateful. I'm forever ever grateful for what you do in the community, what you've done for all of us, and what you continue to do. And so with that, I'm going to leave you, but I am going to tell you on the 13th of next month, we're going to do what's called an asset mapping as opposed to our usual alliance meeting. And you guys, this will be cool. You're going to get everybody in the same room, and we're going to go around and we're going to be able to put up on little stickies, which we're going to put in Hope Hub afterwards. Is Hope Hub not the best? Anyway, we're going to put it into Hope Hub afterwards, and it'll be every single organization, every single outlet, whether it's with a church, whether it's an organization, whether it's with a person that can help in some way. So you guys are going to be involved in that, and so you'll remember it. So when somebody calls you, it's like, well, I got a guy. It's my favorite part of this. I got a guy. I know somebody. So we'll all be able to collaborate, and look at that. And I'll tell you, the 10-year anniversary is 10, 10, 10. It's 10 for being flexible and being able to, resilient. And so, of course, I'm seeing the Wizard of Oz and tin hats everywhere, but we'll talk about that at our 10-year anniversary, okay? And I look at how far we're going to be able to come. I was so excited when I mentioned something because it comes from the top. And when this job came open and I heard a few things and I knew that it was Heather Edwards with that kind heart and that big mind and the culture that she created, just so calm and welcoming, and I just jumped right in. And when I said, you guys, we're having this 5th anniversary, the whole office just went, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And I'm like, well, I can work with this. And Courtney, her sweet dad, was the one that, with the wood 5-year anniversary, she brought out the wood. Look at our little wood things on the table. He cut those for us. I mean, is that not cool? So be thinking about what we can do on 10-year, you guys. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'll see you at the asset mapping on the 13th. Oh, and I'll see you at the Alliance meeting in April, next Alliance meeting. So I'm excited to see what we'll all do. Thank you very much.
Signing this thing?
Yeah, got it.
All right.
Take your little heart, sign your little heart.
Signing the declaration.